tell me if this sounds like you. You have been creating content for some time and you're not seeing any results. Or anytime you want to sit down and become a content creator, you don't know where to get started and you feel hopeless, you feel trapped, you feel kind of annoyed because people are telling you essentially everything. They're telling you to start here, start there, and you feel like maybe you're just overwhelmed with all of the options. Well, in this video, we're going to do two things. One, I'm going to talk about the 5-year trap that is keeping you broke based on my experience, what I've gone through. And so I can teach you what I've learned so that you can avoid those mistakes and you can skip the waiting period, we'll say. We're going to talk about usually the life cycle of a content creator, someone that wants to make money online. And then I'm going to give you a simple 5-step approach that you can implement starting today to start seeing immediate results. But before we do that, can I share a quick story with you? The story is my personal story of going through this exact same thing. When I first started this YouTube channel, I, like you, was chasing views. I thought that the best way to monetize my YouTube channel, or really any account, is by getting paid by the YouTube Partner Program or the TikTok Creativity Fund. Insert platform payment here. And when you do that, you tend to kind of chase views, right? You aren't making necessarily the best content. You're trying to make the content that you think is working. And because of that, because of the game plan that you've laid out for yourself, or at least I laid out for myself, I was creating content that I wasn't necessarily aligned with. I was so hung up on trying to get to the 4,000 watch hours and the 1,000 subscribers. Those are the minimum requirements needed in order to join the YouTube Partner Program. I was so hung up on that. That was my single solitary focus that, I was just creating content for content's sake. I wasn't necessarily creating the best type of content or the content that I was necessarily aligned with. I was making content because I saw other people doing it that way. And it ultimately led to me being frustrated and angry and annoyed and not really getting anywhere. And this continued for a little while. You can go look at my original YouTube videos on this channel. The videos got 200 views, 100 views, 10 views at some instance. And so when you're doing that, you feel frustrated and annoyed and you're looking around and you're comparing yourself to other people. And at least I was saying, well, what does this person know and have that I don't know and have? And, I was very, very frustrated about not being able to grow because it looked like everybody around me was making tons of money while I was still stuck in the mud. And it did continue that way for some time until I realized that the best way to get out of this trap that was keeping me broke, the best way wasn't to continue to try and feed the algorithm. It wasn't worrying about the number of subscribers that I had and the number of watch hours. It was actually to create content that actually helped people solve a problem and then monetizing it in a variety of ways on the back end, some of the ways that we're going to cover. Once I understood that, once I realized that, my entire focus shifted. The content that I was creating shifted 1,000 degrees, if that's even possible. But I started creating content for the viewer, the consumer. And when I started doing that, my income grew, my affiliate commissions grew, my digital product sales grew, everything grew, and I was much happier. And I was no longer worried about the YouTube Partner Program. And in fact, someone recently said that this channel that you're watching is dead. And if I was solely focused on making money with the YouTube Partner Program, I would be frustrated. But because I look at getting monetized by the YouTube Partner Program or the TikTok shop as kind of like the icing on the cake, I don't really care. What I care about is that a certain percent of the viewers that watch my content go on to buy a digital product of mine or buy a product that I'm recommending as an affiliate. And if you can get 10% of your population to do that, you're going to have a pretty good living. So if you just think about it, I think I had 7,000 people watching my content. And if you just did the math, 7,000, and you cross out that 0, I believe that is 700, obviously correct my math. And if 700 people each buy a $10 product from you or an $8 product or whatever it might be, we add that 0 back, that's at least $7,000 per month. Oh, by the way, I still have a mailing list that I can rely on. So when you are monetized the right way and you understand how to help people, you no longer chase views. You no longer you're no longer just doing stuff to do stuff, and you truly start helping people, and you can actually solve problems. You'll be happier, and you're no longer worried. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do. Part number one of this, I guess, would be part number two, is we are going to talk about what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what's probably keeping you stuck, and then we're going to cover the step-by-step guide on how to get unstuck starting today. And there's a few things that you can do. I'm going to try and cover them all without this being a 30 or 45-minute video. So the first part is what you're probably doing right now. I call this the creators, or the person that wants to make money online, the hamster wheel that everybody jumps on. Very few people get on the hamster wheel, or the journey to wanting to make money another way that I'm going to mention. So step one is you have an epiphany. You realize that I want or need to make money online. Now, for me, this actually happened because we realized that we were going to have twins. And so when you go from a family of 2 to a family of 4, you realize the current money that you're making isn't going to be enough when you start thinking about diapers and insurance and car seats and daycare. Daycare by itself was worth essentially the full-time job. And what I was making at the time wasn't going to cover much more than daycare, if we're being honest. And so for me, it was I needed to make money online so that I could better provide for my family. And then the step 2 in this life cycle is you go through shortcuts. So you're watching ads to make money. You're doing online surveys to make money. You're trying like the quick cash thing that ultimately winds up taking longer than the method that I'm going to cover. Then you have 2 options. You can either decide I'm going to actually create content because that's what I see people doing, or I'm going to quit because you can actually make money online. A lot of people will quit at this step because they realize it's much more difficult. But the people that go on and say, you know what, I'm going to become a content creator, they start chasing views, kind of like what I alluded to earlier. I wasn't creating the best type of content that was aligned. I was creating content based on what I saw other people doing. And then when you start chasing views, you get burnt out. You're constantly looking at the numbers. You're constantly refreshing the numbers and wondering why the numbers aren't changing. Back in the past, I would have one person watch, and it was probably my mom or somebody or my wife. And then 2 minutes later, I'd refresh. How come that number hasn't changed from 1 to 3? And that would be incredibly frustrating. And then, you're chasing views. You're working so hard for the view, you eventually get burnt out. And then you can decide to either start over with a new niche or quit completely. So that is the old life cycle. That's what we want to get away from. And what I want to share with you is a step-by-step guide that we can actually implement so that you can be successful once and for all. The first step is to find a niche and stick with it. Now, what I actually have, I have 7 different ways that you can find a niche. And what I started doing, and again, I don't want this to be a 10-hour video, but there's 7 different ways that you can find a niche. And what I will be doing is I will be doing like podcast episodes where I go into each one of these more in depth. But the 7 ways that you could find a niche really quickly are recent purchases. So anything you just bought. For example, I just bought a Apple Pen so I can draw and doodle on my iPad, so I can make future videos. You can look at the problems that you solved recently. You can look at who you were 5 years ago. Now, Russell Brunson is big on this one. Look at who you were 5 years ago, the problems that you were going through, because chances are there's somebody going through those exact problems right now. Another good one is hobbies. One of my favorite hobbies was playing video games, and more specifically, playing sports video games. And so I could create content teaching beginners how to get started playing sports video games, which we can talk about in just a moment. Passions. What are some of the things that you're passionate about? Personally, I am passionate about coaching kids in football, basketball, and baseball. And the reason why I'm passionate about it is because I feel like it's my responsibility to grow the game. Me playing at a high level is gone. I still play. In fact, I played earlier this morning, but me playing at a high level is gone. I haven't played at a high level in probably 20 years. I'm just out there running around trying not to get hurt. But as someone that loves basketball, football, and baseball, I feel it's my personal responsibility that the kids enjoy and have a great feeling at the end of the season. Because like I said in a live in a podcast episode, the kids aren't going to remember that they went 6-2 or 6-3. They're going to remember how they felt at the end of the season. And if we can have them all have a positive feeling, they'll come back year after year. Because at my son's 7 years old, at 7 years old, at 8 years old, you don't know who's going to be the next Barry Sanders, or you don't know who's going to be the next Rashawn Salam. Those are two football players, right? And so we want everybody to come and play and have fun and have an enjoyable experience so that they can want to come back again and again and again. That's my personal belief, and that's something I'm really passionate about. And I could share that passion with other people through the experiences that I have. Okay, so after passion, we have skills. What skills do you know how to do? If you know how to woodwork, if you know how to, for example, like program an app, or if you know how to fix a tire, those are all skills that you can share with other people. And then the final one is work foundation. I used to be a software developer, and so I can work functions, that should say. I used to be a software developer, and I can share that knowledge and skill with other people, because there are literally millions of people out there that want to become a software developer. You might have skills in Microsoft Excel. You can turn around and teach that, or Google Sheets. You can turn around and teach that to other people, because there are literally people out there that want to learn how to get better at Microsoft Excel so that they can apply for a higher job. Anyway, I'm going to do separate podcast episodes for each one of those, but I did wanted to make sure that we covered those quickly. So after you find a niche, the next step is to make a list of all the questions that they're asking. So if we're thinking about the sports video game analogy, my favorite video game to play right now is it's called EA Sports College Football 26, I believe, or 25. And people that are just getting started, put yourself in the mind frame of a complete beginner. People that are just getting started, they're asking questions like how to throw a forward pass, how to run an option, what is an option, how is an option different than an RPO. But put yourself in the mind of a complete beginner who is just unboxing the video game or just getting started with the hobby or passion that you want to talk about. And then you simply can pick one or two of those, and we're going to approach this in a few different ways. You can pick one of those, one specific question or problem that they're going through, and you can create a digital product. And the best thing about it is you can create this digital product for free. You can use Canva, you could use Google Sheets, you could use your phone and record a mini course if you want to. You could, if you wanted to do a series of emails, you simply could send out emails. But you can create a digital product that answers one question for free. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on it. It's something that you could create in 3 days or less. Another option that you have is you can actually answer questions at the foundational level and then be an affiliate for different products and services that are related. For example, if someone is asking questions about how to do stuff in Canva, you can teach them how to do stuff in Canva, and then you could give them a Canva template using your affiliate link. And then if people upgrade to the premium version of Canva, you could get paid an affiliate commission. Another example is teaching people how to build websites or a blog. You simply share your URL to Bluehost or whatever your web hosting platform is and say, this is my number one recommended web hosting platform for beginners. And some of those people are going to click on your affiliate link and make a purchase. But start with questions, right? We want to be helpful. We want to answer questions and solve problems, and make a list and keep a running list. What I like to do is I have a Google Sheet of probably 20, 30, 50 questions. And in fact, I'm always asking questions. On my most recent uploads on this YouTube channel, I ask questions. I say, how would your life change if you started earning affiliate commissions yesterday? And people answer that, and I can use that to help with content going forward. But anyway, you're going to create a specific digital product to answer one question. Your digital product has to be specific. You do not want a digital product that tries to be all things to all people. We want to build trust and credibility, and the best way to do that is simply to just answer one question at a time. Okay? You can, as I mentioned, for The video game niche, you can teach a person how to level up their player. You can teach them how to beat their friends in Madden or whatever it might be. So after you do that, you're simply going to create a sales page. And if you wanted to get started for free, you can use Gumroad and create your sales pages for free. However, you also have the option of using something called Gbolt Systems. That is my personal software. And if you want to learn more about it, you can check out the second link in the description to get started. So once you have your digital product, that's how you're going to make your money. And you create your sales page, you need to make people aware that you have this thing that can help them. A lot of people overcomplicate marketing and they think it's the hard part. Marketing is actually the easy part. If you made a list of questions that your target audience is asking, you simply can create content answering those questions and then let people know that you have something that is going to help them faster or easier. Now remember, people will buy things from you if you can save them time, save them money, or save them frustration. And if we create a digital product centered around video games, we are helping save them frustration. We're helping them not get beat by their friends in the video game that they enjoy. We're helping them have a flawless wedding and not have any frustrations when planning it. Think about it that way. Think about when you're creating your digital product. How can I save someone time, money, or frustration? If you can do two of those, you'll have a buyer. If you can do all three of those, you'll have lots of buyers. So think about that going forward. So what you're going to do is you're going to create content helping people with problems. Now, how you do that is going to vary based on where you do it. So here on YouTube, you are going to do keyword research. You're going to look up the questions that people are asking. For example, you could go to YouTube right now and type in how to underscore in Madden 2025. And then you can go through each letter of the alphabet at the beginning of the underscore, and you're going to see all the questions that people are asking. You can simply create content answering those questions. The best part about it is you have an evergreen list of ideas. You know exactly the problem that they're going through, and then you can let people know you have that solution. If you're going to create content on social media, it's a little bit different. What you should be doing is you should be talking to their frustrations. You can interweave in keywords and search engine optimization, SEO, but I find that on social media, especially on like TikTok or even YouTube Shorts, people aren't necessarily looking for a solution. But over here on YouTube, people are looking for a solution. That's why they're typing in how to run the option or how to run a run pass option in college football. On social media, people want to be entertained or educated. And so what you can do, what I tell my clients to do, is to do an if-then statement. If you're tired of getting beat like a drum when you're playing your friends in college football 2025, that's a hook, then watch this video because I've got 3 tips to share with you. You share the 3 tips, and then you add a call to action. What I just explained to you is what Russell Brunson calls a hook story offer. You are hooking them in with an if-then statement. If you're this, or if you are feeling this, if you're tired, if you're annoyed, if you're angry that your friends keep telling you to give up the sticks, it's a term that we used to use back in high school, that if you got down by 21 points, you had to give your controller to the person waiting. And so, you can say something like, if you're tired of having to give up the sticks after the first quarter, here are 3 things that you could do today to win your next Madden football game. You share the 3 tips. You could say clock management, run pass options, or, run whatever. And then you have a call to action. You could say, hey, look, if you want my complete guide on dominating your friends in the next head-to-head matchup, then check out the link in my bio. That's an offer, hook story offer, and you'll get people to buy. And the best part about this is that the more you create content, the more you interact with your audience, the more you'll grow. And the more you'll grow, the more money you'll make. So you can do this starting today, even if you have no followers or no subscribers, but it's all about this little, it's not necessarily a hamster wheel, but I think it's kind of like a linear track where once you get to the end, all you got to do is create content. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, if this is a cool process, if you've tried it before. This is something that I've actually done in multiple niches all over the internet, both here on YouTube with this channel. and with other channels that are out there. And this is something that you can do too. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be great with technology. You simply, if you've got a phone, open your phone up, create content, and create your digital product. Anyway, I enjoyed hearing all the positive feedback about the background. I appreciate it. I'm thinking about having a logo right here, kind of like a screensaver eventually, so that you guys can check that out. So make sure that you like, comment, follow, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.